All right, if you're a leader, you know the drill. You're constantly being asked to sign off on major tech spending. But how can you be sure you're not just buying into buzzwords? Today, we're going to cut through all that fog. We're breaking down a guide from Virtualization Options LLC. They're a research group that really specializes in helping executives, especially non-technical ones, make much smarter tech decisions. Our goal here? To find a clear, no-nonsense path to real measurable ROI. So let's just start with a number that should honestly stop anyone in their tracks: 80%. According to Gartner, that's how many technology buyers, 80%, end up regretting at least one major purchase. It's like an epidemic of buyer's remorse, and it's proof that the way most of us are told to approach tech investment is just, well, it's fundamentally broken.
And this quote from McKinsey, it just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? It's that sinking feeling of signing a massive check based on all these grand promises, only to be sitting there a few months later asking, so, what did we actually get for all that money?
You know, all this uncertainty, it turns every tech investment into a high-stakes gamble. You know you have to play the game, you have to invest to stay competitive, but you're often flying completely blind, just hoping you land somewhere valuable. Let's dig into exactly why it feels that way.
A lot of times, it starts with the buzzword trap. Come on, we've all heard them. Digital transformation, next-gen solutions, AI-powered synergy. They sound impressive, right? They create this sense of urgency, this fear of being left behind. But what do they actually mean for your bottom line? A lot of the time, not much. They just mask unclear value and push us to make decisions based on FOMO, fear of missing out, instead of a real solid strategy.
And the cost of flying blind like this is absolutely staggering. You've got research from Forrester that shows about 30 cents of every single dollar spent on technology is just wasted. It's spent on tools that completely fail to deliver. That is a massive, massive drain on resources that should be funding actual growth. Okay, so how do we find our way out of this fog? We need a map, a really clear, structured framework that defines what real technology value even looks like so we can finally start to measure it.
And that map is called Technology Return on Investment, or ROI. Now, don't let the term scare you. It's not just for the finance department. It's a business discipline. It's just a way to quantify the real-world impact of a technology purchase. And the formula? It's pretty simple. You take all the benefits, you subtract the costs, and then you divide that number by the costs. If you get a positive number, hey, you're creating value. A negative number, well, not so much. Now, this is really crucial. ROI isn't just one single number. You have to look at it through three different lenses. First, you've got your financial ROI. That's the direct hit to the bottom line, like revenue going up or costs going down. Then there's operational ROI. Is the business running faster, better, smarter? And finally, you've got strategic ROI. Are we gaining a real, long-term competitive edge here? A truly great investment? It delivers across all three.
And this distinction between hard and soft benefits is just so important. Hard benefits, those are the easy ones to count, right? Direct cost savings, new revenue streams. But the soft benefits, things like happier customers or better experience for your employees, those are just as vital. In fact, they're often the first sign of future financial success.
Okay, so this framework sounds powerful in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's check out a real-world case study that makes this whole thing tangible.
I want you to meet MSU Federal Credit Union. Now, they didn't just go out and buy some flashy new AI toy. They implemented an internal chatbot, but they had a very specific goal: make it easier for their employees to find policy info without having to go bother another human. Simple, right? A clear business objective.
So what happened? What were the results? Well, right away, that chatbot started handling 2,000 employee questions every single month. And that in turn translated directly into 166 hours of reclaimed productivity for their team. Think about that. 166 work hours saved every month.
And the payoff? The big punchline? The project completely paid for itself in just 18 weeks. That is what a clear, powerful, and undeniable return on investment looks like. You know, their VP, Ben Maxim, he put it perfectly. Focusing on ROI changes the entire conversation inside a company. It stops being about, hey, this seems cool, and it starts being a disciplined hunt for measurable, real-world value.
So how can you bring this kind of discipline into your own organization? Well, it all starts by asking the right questions. And I've got a simple but really powerful roadmap you can start using literally today. Okay, here's your checklist. 4 questions. That's it. 4 questions to challenge your team with before any big tech purchase. First, business objectives. Force the conversation away from shiny features and towards strategic goals. Second, total cost. You got to look beyond the sticker price to the true long-term cost of ownership. Third, demand an adoption plan because, let's be real, shelfware has an ROI of 0. How are people actually going to use this thing? And finally, number 4, monitoring. How will we track success and, just as importantly, report back on it? Demanding answers to these 4 questions, it forces a culture of accountability.
And when you adopt this kind of discipline, when you really commit to it, something fundamental begins to shift. Technology stops being just another cost center on a spreadsheet, and it becomes what it was always supposed to be, a powerful source of competitive advantage.
And look, the proof is right there in the data. McKinsey found that organizations that have a structured, disciplined approach to ROI see a 42% higher project success rate. Just let that sink in for a second. By simply changing the questions you ask, you can dramatically improve your odds of winning with technology. So I'll leave you with this one question. The next time a big tech proposal lands on your desk, ask yourself, is this just another gamble, or is this our next competitive advantage? With the right discipline, that choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining.